Welcome back to Havana Group's podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about how much it really costs to start a farm business in Nigeria. Many people dream about going into agriculture, but one question always comes up first, which is how much does it really cost to start a farm in Nigeria? Some people believe you need millions before you can even think about farming, while others assume it's something anyone can start with little or no planning. The truth is, neither is completely accurate. Today, we'll be breaking down the major costs involved in starting a farm, from acquiring farmland and land preparation to irrigation to documents and the hidden expense many first time farmers never see coming. Let's get started. So let's first introduce our guest. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
My name is Henry Kings.
Okay, guys, so we're going to be moving into the first section. Welcome to our podcast, Mr. Henry. So the first thing is there a fixed amount of money someone needs to start a farm in Nigeria?
One of the, actually, not really, but one of the biggest misconceptions about farming is that there is a fixed amount everyone needs before they can begin. The truth is that farming is a very broad industry, and based on the market, the amount you will need to start with depends on several factors. The
Yeah.
type of farming you want to go into matters as well.
Yes,
Crop
definitely.
farming, obviously, we all know from livestock farming is
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
Even with crop farming, growing maize isn't the same as cultivating vegetable or establishing a plantation.
Okay.
So another major factor is scaling.
Yeah.
Like when you want to scale your farm to a certain level, someone farming on 1 hectare won't spend the same amount as someone cultivating 10 hectares.
Okay.
Location also plays a huge role in the cost of starting up your farm, especially that of the cost of land, labor, transportation, and moreover, even access to water differs from place to another because without water, there's no
Yeah.
farm
Okay.
actually. So the lifeblood of anything called farming, especially in every part of the world, is water.
Okay.
So before talking about money, the first thing anyone should decide is what they want to farm first,
Okay.
where they want to start the farm, and how large they really want to start, because that also contributes to the kind of budget you have to build
Okay.
ahead of time without.
Okay, so basically you should consider this what your scaling is like, what your goal is for the farming, what exactly are you planning to be farming, and what's your budget on the farming is basically what you're telling us.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So if someone doesn't already own a farm, like what should they look out for before buying? Like if for someone that is a first timer, what would you say they should look out for before they consider buying a farm?
Okay, buying a farm, it depends on the region though, but I would say from the state where we are, buying a farm is often one of the biggest startup expenses.
Okay.
So it's very important to make the right decision at first.
Yeah.
Most first time buyers focus almost entirely on the price and income they are expecting, but that's not even enough. A cheaper piece of land isn't always the better investment.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So you should always consider where the farmland is located, how accessible it is
Yeah.
throughout the year,
Okay.
especially now that there are so many insurgency and insecurity going on in the country. Whether vehicles can easily reach the farm, because that's another most important thing. Where you have
Yes.
some seedlings and buds to plant, you should obviously need to have an accessible
Road to
paths
the
and
place.
roads to
Okay.
get to the farm,
Yeah.
and whether there is also a nearby source of water, like I've already said initially.
Like a
So
stream, river, those kind of places.
exactly that kind
Okay.
of thing. There should be something of such nature.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be spending a whole lot of money. You find out that most of your investment is going into
On
water.
water.
Yeah. So it's also important to look at the surrounding environment. If
Okay.
there are other farming going on around that place,
Yes.
does the soil support the type of crop you want to grow? For instance, carrots and cassava cannot grow in the same kind of soil. Yeah, so that kind of a thing. And there are communities nearby where you can source labor. So meaning
Oh.
that you must have your farm around a short, or should I say a small community. There must be a community around your farm.
A village would be the ideal place to own a farmland if you're doing the large scaling, so that you have manpower, like you have people that you can pay to manage the farmland.
Not necessarily a village, if I must say. You can start up your farm if you're opportune to
Yeah.
have your farmland in a village.
Okay.
But whereas you don't really have your farmland in a village, there are some ways you need to have your farmland where some people are residing around that place.
Yes.
In the sense, there must be, no matter how small, a community around that place. So you can always make use of their
Okay.
labor
Yeah.
capabilities to
Okay.
also work on your farm.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So, how much should people expect to spend on clearing a farmland? Because once the land has been acquired, clearing it is usually the next step. How significant is the cost? Like,
Land clearing is yet another expensive task to carry on, especially
okay,
for the beginners. The cost depends largely on the condition of the land, the
okay,
location, and if the land has thick vegetation,
okay,
tree stumps, rocks, or even uneven terrains, you will likely spend more preparing it for cultivation. And another thing is the size of the land also matters. Naturally, clearing 1 hectare will cost less than clearing 5 or 10 hectares, obviously.
okay,
So the method used for clearing also affects the cost.
okay. I think it's
Yeah,
making
so
sense. Yeah.
manual clearing and mechanical clearing have different advantages as well as
Yeah.
disadvantages. And the right option often depends on the size of the project and the condition of the land. Like where you can compare waterlogged
Yeah.
land to where you're clearing just normal land where people can actually
Okay.
work on. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, it all depends on the thickness of the land that you are buying, because some lands may come with thick trees, thick forests, but then you
Exactly.
have some lands that are just like more clearable by a human, so you can do that manually. But then you have the ones that need all the trucks and mechanical equipment. So you're saying that
Yeah.
it depends on the thickness of the land, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. It will be, why is irrigation something farmers should plan for from the beginning? Because a lot of people, they rely on rainfall, and why should irrigation be a part of the initial budget?
Okay. To start, as a farmer, if you have to actually make profit, there are certain things you have to hope for, no matter how well do you are and how deep your pocket is when you're starting. You might be opportune to have full access or very close proximity access to water, but most importantly, rainfall is also important, but it isn't always predictable anyway.
Okay.
So if you want consistent production, especially if you're farming commercially,
Yeah.
having a reliable source of water is extremely important, depending on your location though. And
Okay.
your growing irrigation may involve installing pumps,
Yeah.
water storage systems like tanks and the rest of them. Then you
Yeah.
have to also lay out pipelines and even go as far as drilling a borehole. Yeah, that's depending on how that place, the water level, and the rest of them. So, why this may seem like additional expenses at first, in the long run, they help to reduce the risk that come with unpredictable weather and can improve productivity. So planning for irrigation from the beginning,
Yeah.
like from the very beginning,
Yeah.
gives your farm a stronger foundation rather than trying to solve water challenges after production.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So I think listening to you, you've really emphasized on the fact that farmers need water and you need to be in a place that has access to enough water for you instead of you always spending on getting water into your farmland. So you're basically saying that the most important thing is what I'm getting from here is to have an access to water spot or water river or a pond or something, right?
Yeah, necessarily water is very important, but the main point there is that you shouldn't rely on one particular source of water.
Okay.
Yeah, even rainfall is also one of it, but
Yeah.
you shouldn't rely only on rainfalls because
Okay.
it's not predictable.
Yeah, because the seasons do change at the same.
Exactly.
Okay. So, are there legal or registration costs people should know about? Because many people they think only about the physical farm. Are there documentations or registration costs that should also plan for? Like people should also look out and plan for in the beginning.
Yeah, especially in Nigeria. Yeah, obviously there is.
Okay.
Depending on the scale of your farming business, there may be registration requirements and other forms of documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the most necessary form of documentation also is, for instance, if you just bought the land or you're about purchasing a land for your farming,
Yeah.
you should know that according to Nigerian Act of Law, you have to also register it through the Ministry of Lands
Mm,
and also state that it's for farming as well. So it's very
okay.
important. And you
Yeah.
also have to check the location.
Mm,
And purchasing a land also and the registration goes with the location because the documentation, beyond legal compliance, the proper documentation also helps when applying for grants, partnerships,
okay.
loans, investment opportunities, and the
Yeah.
rest
So
of it.
that it will give them security to know that you're backed, like you're
Exactly,
actually okay.
exactly. Keeping proper records from the beginning makes business more organized and more attractive to potential investors and financial institutions going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What are some hidden costs first time farmers often overlook? Because like what are some expenses that usually catch beginners by surprise?
There are quite a few, but those few can actually become more if you don't adjust as soon as possible. You determine and you notice them. Transportation, which happens to be one of them,
Okay.
moving equipment, farm input, harvested products, all come with cost, and people sometimes forget to include that in
In
their
the
budget,
budget, okay.
especially at the starting point. Like if you're a beginner farmer, you
Mm,
have to remember you have to spend money for the very first production and harvestation.
yeah.
Then labor is another major expense, especially during farm preparation, planting,
Mm,
weeding, and harvesting as well.
yeah.
So other costs include maybe based on if you want to secure your land by fencing,
Mm,
security, hiring, storage facilities,
okay.
farm tools, fertilizers, pest control,
Yeah.
seedlings, and seed. So equipment maintenance, and most especially, we are we are
Way
in
of
a country
cost.
where fuel is now
Yeah,
expensive.
definitely.
So individually, these expenses may not seem overwhelming at
Mm,
first, but together, like I said, they
yes.
might be few, but they can significantly increase your overall budget. So
No.
that's why it's always advisable to include a contingency fund for
Mm,
unexpected expenses instead of budgeting every naira.
yes.
Yeah.
I think that's really important actually because I feel like not everybody knows that agribusiness, like agriculture, is the reason it's even called agribusiness is it's not one you can't make money just by farming. There are whole other ways that you can make money from, which we also have a video that talked about that. I will link that with the video so you guys can go and check that out. Because there are other ways like transportation. You have people that often use the produce after it has been consumed to even make money after that. So there are lots of ways you can make money through agriculture, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so if someone has a limited budget, can they still start farming? Some people may be interested in agriculture but don't have a large amount of money to begin farming. What would you advise them to do?
Okay. Having a limited budget doesn't really mean you can start your farm business.
Okay.
Currently, we are in a tech, or should I say, digital world or era,
Yeah.
where you have businesses that also facilitate and help people to actually start from the point where they are in terms of financial status and the rest.
Yes.
And if I can remember, feedafrica.co is also one of these kind of platforms.
Okay.
The most important thing is to start within your capacity. You don't
Yes.
have to begin with a massive farm.
Mm,
Many successful farmers started small. They gain experience as they move ahead. So in the long run, they also try as much as possible to reinvest. That's if they have the foresight and expand gradually. So
okay.
starting with a manageable size
Yeah.
also allows you to learn from your mistakes
Okay.
without exposing yourself to unnecessary financial risk.
Okay. So they should basically start with what they have at the moment. Like it mustn't be something huge. You can just start as small as you can.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, that's good. That's a good insight. What's your biggest advice for aspiring farmers? Like, what's one piece of advice you'd give anyone planning to start a farm in Nigeria?
My advice is if you don't have the capital, if you are somebody that already knows that all these things I stated, starting from the beginning to the risk and the advantages and disadvantages,
Okay.
it seems like your budget is just a little bit of on the steep side.
Yeah.
You shouldn't rush into farming because you've heard it's profitable. Obviously, it's
Mm,
profitable, but
yeah.
it's a kind of business that you use money to pursue money.
Yes.
So take your time, understand the type of farming you want to go into,
Okay.
venture into it, research the costs involved, speak to experienced farmers in that same market space
Mm,
by visiting already existing farms and develop a realistic budget for
okay.
yourself. And the more you get prepared, you before you begin, the more you likely are to make informed decisions and avoid unnecessary expenses.
Okay.
Farming business it can make you very successful,
Okay.
but it requires serious planning, but patience, and as well as continuous learning because it doesn't just stop.
Yeah.
Things changes and it keeps on changing. It won't stop changing.
Yes.
Yeah. So
It's always going to keep moving and all and
yeah,
change throughout the year. Okay, guys. So basically, that you can be successful, but then you also need to do your market research to understand what the agriculture space has for you because it has a lot of branches. So you need to do your market research and find out what works best for you and where you think you'd grow in, basically, is what our guest is saying today. Starting a farm isn't just about having money, it's about knowing where your money should go and planning for every stage of the journey. We hope this conversation has given you a clearer understanding of what it really takes to start a farm in Nigeria. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to like this video. Comment your thoughts on the whole topic. If you have something to add, you can also leave them in the comment section. Subscribe to the Havana Group's YouTube channel and come back for more on our podcast also. And also don't forget to share this with someone who thinks about venturing into agriculture. We'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.